terms of the next level, where we talked about a silver criteria, they were perhaps extending the symbols into the more curricular areas, story time, choosing activities, choosing snack, that kind of thing. Self-regulation, where we were trying to help the children support the development of their own emotional literacy and development their well-being. And curricular supports, and self-registration. And information perhaps coming home or on newsletters or on posters, that kind of thing. So very basic things like self-registration, when the children again were far more independent. In the very early stage, it might be that the children had a symbol against their name and perhaps in a cloakroom peg and that kind of thing too. But as they became more aware of their own literacy skills and they understood the shape of their name and were able to read it themselves, then that was reduced too. The children could be quite independent about doing this, and they used it for different resources. They could build up a picture of who was having a home dinner, a school dinner, etc., and then do some numeracy skills, adding them up and putting the total at the bottom. Just very simple routines, things like hand washing routines in early years provisions, nursery or infants, where things like having a snack routine, or even routines for how they did a painting, getting a penny, getting their paper, where it went at the end, etc. Choice-making activities, where they could see what the choices available were and the choices that they wanted to make. Lunch menus, which were quite tricky for a lot of our children, and very often we found that once they were available, the dinner ladies were very happy to have them put up outside or even beside the actual lunch choices in the lunchroom themselves. They were very inclusive. They were very happy to have them as well. Curricular supports, where these could sit within little triangles on a group of desks or within a pencil pot, where the children could actually check if they had all of these things in their writing activities or if they were doing peer supervision, so that when they actually did come out to the classroom teacher with a finished piece of writing, they were able to check themselves, and they were far more likely to have a correct piece of writing from the get-go, instead of having to be sent back with a reminder that you've forgotten your full stop or your finger spaces. So they were very good reminders for children to self-check. And as they went up the school, obviously they became more involved, or more reminders were added to them. Very simple things like spell checkers. Simple things like different ways of forming sentences, where they could make fun sentences by rolling dice and coming up with different parts of a sentence. Story writing supports, where they could be used in lots of different ways. Some children just needed the elements reminded to them, what was a good writing piece of story writing, where it was a where, when, who or why. It may be that other children needed some help in a group situation, where they could discuss who might be a part of perhaps a pirate-themed story. Or it may be that they needed far more support, where they could have symbols or visuals with characters or examples of places. So it could be used at lots of different levels. And again, further up the school, there might be more character development, so symbol supports to help develop characters. Phonics supports, where it just helped give them the letters of the beginnings of words or the ends of words. Jolly phonics, that kind of thing. Where it might be to support a story and lots of different elements within a story. For example, a life cycle of a caterpillar, where it might be fruit, where there are lots of numeracy activities involved in it, where there are categorisation, where there are days of the week. So visuals can be used to support lots of elements in literacy, storytelling, story writing. Numeracy too, where there are lots of different reminders, where children be doing activities independently. Where it became quite important was where we were looking at children becoming more involved in understanding why things did go wrong sometimes and what they could do to make them better. And when children were upset or emotionally unstable or quite unsure of how they were feeling and what that actually meant, we could help the children visualise that and then also verbalise it, what had happened in their situation, and more than that, how they could make that better. And we could use visuals in a very supportive way, where the children could be far more emotionally able to talk about things, because if they were trying to decide what happened in a situation, they could be discussing it with their focus on a visual the person helping them, perhaps the teacher or the playground assistant, could be using set scripts so that the children were confident in trying to explore who was involved in a situation, how did that make them feel, how were they going to make it better, and how that could actually happen. So the children were very much more practically involved in reducing their anxiety and having a very supportive and successful outcome.